But do you think that 100% rating is, I guess, roadblocked by ourselves? Do we self-segregate as veterans, as a group of veterans? Do we go, I don't really rate 100%? Do we do that and shoot ourselves in the foot because we're afraid to obtain it for whatever reason, or not? Or is it just we all want it, but we just can't get it because we don't qualify, right? So there's two different people there.
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts on that idea. I'm really curious to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, so there's so many different fronts, and I'm gonna try to hit them all about, I feel like I don't deserve 100%. And to be honest with you, if you served, I'm just being very general here, okay? If you served 3 years and you got out for whatever reason, you were an administrator and there's really nothing that happened in service, you're completely healthy, you're probably not going to meet that mark. Now, that doesn't mean to say that same scenario, but it's the opposite where you're unhealthy. Maybe you suffered an MST, whatever that case looks like. Obviously, you have a road to 100%. So I do think there's some reality there that veterans have to face. But for the most part, the majority of veterans, right? There's 18.5 million veterans, and I'm kind of rounding. I believe 6.5 million are rated. That includes 0 to 100. So all VA disability compensation. So the majority of veterans aren't rated at all. And I have tons of friends. I could at least name 10 of them right now who refuse to even think about submitting a VA disability claim. And there are many, many reasons to that. Some do feel like they aren't disabled. And I hate the phrase VA disability. I really do. If we're going to word change anything, so I work in, I'm a federal employee for the Army, and specifically course development and an instructor. So we look at Army doctrine all day, and doctrine changes for words all the time. And the only change I want for a word ever is VA disability to VA compensation. I don't know why we can't do that. That would actually make sense because there's a lot of stigmas on VA disability. I was actually talking to someone who wasn't a veteran, talking about, and they were making the argument that that veterans aren't disabled. And I'm like, you're correct. It's VA compensation. Like if you were to rent a car and then you put a dent in it, guess what? You got to pay for that dent. It's the same concept. I'm kind of talking in circles here, so I'll just kind of go straight for the throat. In my opinion, a lot of veterans don't feel like they deserve 100%, and that's really where it gets at. And so you might be you might be rated at 50, 60, 70, whatever. And there's two aspects to that. You don't feel like you deserve 100%, right? Which may or may not be true, and that word deserve gets a little dicey there. The question is, do you have the evidence in the current diagnosis? That's the question you need to answer. The second thing is another phrase I absolutely can't stand is poking the bear. Anytime someone says, I'm scared to poke the bear, I'm just like, dude, one, your conditions are static, right? Majority of veterans conditions, especially after the OIG report of 22, are going to be static, right? If you don't know if your conditions are static, talk to your VSO and or do a FOIA request for your rating code sheet through the regional office. Not your entire C file. That's going to take 6 to 9 months, but you can request your rating code sheet. It's going to be static, probably. And so now there's this stigma of, well, I don't want to lose my rating. And then, and I hate that because first, we submit evidence-based claims, right? And the VA is going to rate your current symptom severity. And if that condition is static, you're protected, right? I know there's clickbait out there, and I've fallen victim to this myself as well, right? There's clickbait out there that says, the VA is going to take your rating. It's like, well, let's relax and look at when the VA actually does take ratings, and it's extremely rare. And so I think for those two reasons, veterans don't feel like they deserve 100%, and that's really those who are already rated. And then veterans are afraid to poke the bear, right? So there's that group, and then there's the veterans who don't even have a rating at all, who just don't even feel the need to submit for a VA claim, and that's their prerogative, right? That's their choice. I'm personally not a fan of it, obviously, but it is what it is. So at least that's my 2 cents on the whole situation. It is weird, I will tell you that. There's definitely no right answer, and it goes both ways. I am interested to hear what you have to say about that, though. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
I was trying to block out the rooster. All right. So there are a lot of the same kind of mindset that you were talking about in my own kind of situation here. I think that I'm a little more on the side of that veterans, specifically those that have never filed anything, right? They're the one who has never filed anything, which is the majority, right? Sadly, of veterans. 70% of veterans have never filed a claim with the VA, or at least they're not service connected. That they believe that, one, they're not disabled, right? Because the damn word disabled puts in your mind that I have to be missing a limb, I have to be in a wheelchair, those types of things. Now, obviously, folks that have injuries from their military service are absolutely going to be service connected. However, the disability aspect of VA disability compensation really is the word, like you said, that sticks out in our minds. And we go, well, I can touch my toes. I can walk into the grocery store. I still have all my digits, right? And so therefore, I don't rate anything, let alone 100%. And oh, by the way, you know how you had your couple things that you hated the verbiage on?
Mm-hmm.
I hate 100%. Absolutely. Because it infers that that's the maximum. 100% rating should be reserved for the most catastrophic situations. The person rolling in the convoy that got hit and is forever changed. 100% should be for that person. So in our minds, we think that, and that's not true. You and I know that, Clay, that person is not on the 0 through 100% schedule. Trust me, they are special monthly compensation all the way, 100%. And they're receiving whatever 2-3 times the amount that the 100% schedule pays out. And so there's a lot of weird verbiage out there that leads us down a path that is not conducive to our own well-being, or even allowing us to entertain the benefits that we've earned. Now, here's another thing. People that did not serve in combat go, well, that's really kind of for those guys or gals, right? And that's not true either. The bottom line is that we all wrote the same check. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where you're going to send me. Who knows, right? We all wrote the same check, and what happens at that, except for Vietnam folks, obviously, whole different story there. And God bless each and every one of you. And too little has been done too late, in my opinion, as far as anything for you guys and gals. So, but for the most part, right, we all write the same check. We don't know where we're going to go, what's going to happen to us, what we're going to experience in our time. Therefore, part of our benefits package is, hey, any condition that you get diagnosed with that is chronic in nature or has some sort of a residual impact to your life is going to be compensated by the VA. Why? Because you're paid like crap the whole time you're in, right? And if you're lucky enough to make it out alive, we're going to take care of you on the backside. So take advantage of that. We have went 20 minutes into this without jumping into the 4 ways to reach 100, because it's that important for the mindset of each and every one of us to understand that we are worthy of seeking it. And I agree with you, Clay. Poking the bear, you know what? If I didn't want to poke the bear, I would still be at 0% probably, or nothing, right? So I had to poke the bear many times. I wasn't worried about it. Why? Because I know that my conditions are not better, and they're certainly not better, and they're probably worse. So if you want to reevaluate me, please, because you're going to give me a higher percentage because it's worse.